Hello and welcome again to SQL for Absolute Beginners course lesson 1.3. SQL Basics will continue in this lesson, but we are going to now write our first conceptual first query. So let's dive in. So as we already discussed that we have two different schema. One is database for Thomas Edison's books, which is called Thomas Edison database, and then another is Andrew Carnegie's database. Now, so earlier we had a question. If somebody asked us, get me the phone number from the phone book, that was an ambiguous question. But if we said that if we can rephrase it as get me the phone numbers from Edison.phone book, then it would make sense. So in this case, basically what we are trying to say is the get me, which is basically just to give you a command, then we'll call what do we need as a field name. So we'll put a phone number or address and city, and then we'll define the schema name, which is in this case, let's say Edison or Carnegie, Edison, and then there is a convention to put as a period like dot, and then Edison dot phone book. The phone book part is nothing but a table name. So the whole sentence, in a layman's language, it looks like get me the phone numbers from Edison.phone book. That would make it much simpler and clear to give any instruction to anybody to say what do you need and from where to get it. So in this sentence, this question, if we have to convert into a command for computer in the database system, what we'll do is the word get will replace that with called select. The word select, select is a word that we are going to use and replace get me part. So we'll say select, then we'll put the field name, which in this case is, let's say, a phone number. So we'll put select, then the field name, which is phone number, and then we'll say from. So we'll leave from as it is like in English language. So from, and then we'll create the specification, which from where to find that, which is our schema dot table structure, which will be Edison.phone book. So if you write this select phone number from Edison.phone book, then it reads like a sentence which we are asking a question, but in computer's way it can interpret this and it understands what are we asking for and where to find it. So the structure is what I'm trying to focus on, which is select, field name, from, schema dot table. Now in this simple sentence there are two words, select and from. Those two are called keywords, and these keywords are very specific keywords. Database systems will interpret and understand very specific commands. So that's why we have to stick to this. We cannot replace select and just say, hey, get me this type of scenario. So some of these keywords will be very specific, and that's what we'll make sure that we use. But this sentence, if you write now, if you have multiple fields to be brought in, so we can say select address dot city from Carnegie.address book. Now we can bring two different fields, and if there are multiple fields, you can separate them out with a comma, and you can do as many fields as you want. So select address, comma, city, comma, zip, let's say we had from Carnegie.address book, things like that. So what you just saw, select, field name, from, schema.table, is nothing but how you write a select statement. Then that's nothing but a SQL query. So congratulations, you basically wrote your first query, and as you can see, it's a very simple structure, but nevertheless don't underestimate the power of that, because this simple statement that we saw, select something from somewhere, basically is such a powerful statement in, I would say, in overall any database system, no matter what the role somebody is playing, either it's a data engineer, DBA, which is database administrator, data analyst, BI analyst, which is business intelligence analyst, or data scientist, even the programmers, Java programmer, C++ programmer, you name it. If they have to connect to the data and retrieve some data, then they have to use this structure. No matter where you go in the world, at least, you know, this is such a common, such a universally used statement that I cannot overemphasize this. So please bear in mind, it's a very simple structure, but very, very, very powerful structure as well. And I'm sure you will come to know this as we go along, because we'll be constantly using this. And I would just want to add, like, millions of queries are running every day, almost all the time, and they all start with select. The select word is very key word, and that's why this select command is where you will see 99% of things will revolve around. Okay, so just to recap quickly, our database is a collection of books, and we can also call schema. Each book is nothing but a table, and each book or a table contains columns and rows. We call column as fields and rows are called records. So that's what I just wanted to recap on the SQL side. Now get is equivalent to select. Retrieve records from a table, we just write a query, and the syntax is very simple again. Select field name 1 comma field name 2 comma, you can go on up to how many fields are there available in that table, from then the database name or schema name dot table name. That simple is a structure, but this is going to help you all along the course. All right, so I guess after this I just want to give you a very simple but very powerful use of this concept as a quiz. So as you can see on the screen, there is a simple table that the schema name or the database name I have given is called superheroes, and the table name is phone diary. So superheroes.phone diary, and there are two columns, two fields, name and phone underscore number. Just keep in mind that the name of the column matters. So in place of NAME, if I said names, then we have to use names in our query when we write. If it is not there, the apostrophe or rather a plural s, then you don't use it. Same way phone number, if there is a space normally are not allowed, so you need to at least put either hyphen or underscore is a very common way to do it, or you leave the space and just keep it together, so one word like phone number. But in this case we put it as phone underscore number. Now the case doesn't matter, meaning uppercase lowercase is not a big deal, but the actual name is very important. So here is a quiz. Write a query to list all the names, that's it, from this table of what you are seeing on the screen. Write a query to list all the names. Another, write a query to list all the phone numbers. One more, write a query to list name and phone numbers. And lastly, it's a bonus question and a very good trick I'm going to show you, which is write a query to list all the columns. Do not specify the name of the column, just write, get all the list, all the columns basically without specifying it. And I'll show you how easy it is to do it. All right, so if you're ready, you can do it. You don't need even a pen and a paper. You can do it just in your mind. I believe it's very simple. And just give it a minute, pause the video, and when you are ready, continue. Alright, so welcome back. I hope you went through the exercise, and it's a very simple thing as you can see. So our first quiz question was write a query to list all the names. Very simple. So we'll create a structure as select, right? So select has to be there. It's a keyword. Then the field name, in our case it is name, N-A-M-E. And as you can see, N capital or lowercase doesn't matter, but I cannot put NAMES or anything like that. So select name, then another keyword from, and then the database or schema name dot table name. In our case it is just one, which is superheroes dot phone diary, and that's it. Select name from superheroes dot phone diary. Similarly, the next one, write a query to list all the phone numbers. Obviously it will be select phone underscore number from superheroes dot phone diary. Now if you want to do both the columns, then we can write select name comma phone underscore number from superheroes dot phone diary. So you can do as many columns as you want, as I said, with a comma. But there will be cases when you really go into the field and in a real life, the tables are there with 20, 30, 50 columns sometimes. It's very hard to type out all those names of the columns and say column A, comma, column B, comma, column C, all things like that. So there is an easy way, which is you just, instead of writing all those names, you just put an asterisk. Asterisk in the IT world, as you might have heard about, is called a wildcard, meaning it can take any value. And in this case we are saying any name, any column name you find, just bring it. So the structure of that query is even simpler. All we'll say is select star from superheroes dot phone diary, and it will, in our case it is just two columns, but if we had 22 columns or 52 columns, it will bring all those columns as an output. Now I know we haven't seen the output yet, and we are not into the actual computer systems, but hang on. just want to make sure you have the right concept and the fundamentals are clear. Once we have the foundation strong enough, then we can build no matter how big the skyscraper we want to build, as long as it can sustain, right? So that's my focus on up to this lesson, that let's understand the key concept of what is the select statement look like, and what's the concept of that, and what's the structure of that. Once you have that in your mind clarified, then you will be good to go anytime, anywhere. All right, so I guess you got the idea of how the SQL statement is created, and now we'll be diving a little bit more into actual database system. But before we start running queries, we need to be prepared for that, and in the next lesson we are going to get familiar with the database management system itself. Until then, hope you enjoy. Thank you.